and I'm going to butcher it, but he basically said, all happy families are happy in the same way, and all unhappy families are unhappy in different ways, meaning, to succeed, there's like a straight and narrow path. Mm-hmm. To fail, there's a million ways to fail.
Right.
Do you think that's true? Do all these guys have common mindset? Obviously, you were psychologist. You're a psychologist, right? So you're working with the brain. I don't know if you're a psychiatrist.
You're
not
psychologist. No, I'm not dispensing meds.
Although some of these dudes need meds.
Yeah. Yes. Well, the straight and narrow path. Based on the way the universe is, there's laws.
Right.
That and so if you live in harmony with the way things are, with the way laws are,
right,
then you're probably going to be on the right path.
Let's say today's your last day on planet Earth,
mm-hmm.
and you don't even have time to write this book.
Right.
It's a great book.
Right.
The Mindful Athlete. But you only have to leave one or maybe two of those laws that get you in line with, this universal success formula. What do you think number one or number two is?
Be here now and be yourself.
Be here and now and be yourself.
The present moment, be in the present moment and just be yourself. Or how do I want to say that? Just be happy.
What's a story you haven't told many people on Kobe or Jordan or Phil Jackson? I know some of the stuff you obviously have some confidentiality about. Any good stories you could share? People love to hear about that.
Yes.
What's your favorite Kobe Bryant story?
And it's interesting because he and I just had this conversation in January when I came out to LA to visit him. And I said, Kobe, do you remember when I told you the best way to score is not to try to score? And he said, yeah, he had 16 points in the first quarter.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Right then?
Yes. And we could argue because he ended up having a game with 81 points.
Okay.
And I think Phil took him out a little bit. Took him, so
he had 81. He would have had more than 81
That's right.
or something. He got taken out.
So yeah, the story is just
So was that after you told him that piece of advice?
Yes, it was after. So he said he told me that he never forgot that.
Huh.
Yeah.
So when he just got in a place of relax, let all the skills that he's built up over years of practice flow.
Just go be with what is and just go with it.
Yeah.
Just go with it. Just be in flow. But he was in it big time.
So that's 81 point advice. Is it hard to get Jordan to do something?
Yes, I think it is. Yes, obviously.
And now he's a billionaire, I read.
Yeah. He hit the $1 billion mark.
Did he change a lot, personality-wise? Or has he always been kind of similar?
He's pretty much, he's been the same. It's just that he's not playing, so it's different. But he's still competitive. I hear he's still competitive. He still doesn't put up with crap.
Are you working for the Knicks now?
Yes, I am.
So you're running the cycle, the kind of the.
I'm doing some consulting. They have people in place, but I'm doing.
This year the Knicks need all the help they can get.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you buy property.
Yeah.
And you notice that there's cracks in the ceilings and the walls, and you patch it up, and then you get another crack, and then you say, okay, well, I wonder what the foundation is like. And you go downstairs and you realize the foundation is crappy.
Right.
And then you're working on a foundation, and of course people driving by say, well, they're not really doing so much.
Right.
But in actuality, the hidden work, the foundational stuff, the changing the culture, that takes more time, and it takes as much time as it takes.
Yeah.
And so that's an analogy that I like to use, working with the team. That's where we are. So
right.
When people say, you're going to turn around next year or whatever, I said, it doesn't work like that. What works is you have to create the structure, and then you get the right people in place, and
right.
And then you just continue to get better each year. So to lose on purpose so that you get potential
right.
top rate is ridiculous, because
right, because then it starts creating a habit.
It's a habit. Yeah. That's right, and you never want to be in a habit of not competing to win.
You think these guys that get to the top, when people, let's say somebody watching this, a lot of people aspire to great things in life, and you've dealt with those people already up there. You think the people at the top have a lot of common flaws? Common things that aren't in harmony? Pride, thinking that they're responsible for it all when it was really lots of people helping them, or just good genes? What do you see, like top athletes? Do you see common weaknesses, or is everybody different?
Everybody's different, and then even with people's strengths, their strengths may be different, but at the same time, there's a commitment to excellence,
Right.
and also there's an intelligence, or there's a willingness to be able to focus and deal with distractions.
Right.
And
that's a big thing. These guys, you're competing, or women, athletes at the highest level, the Coliseum, 18,000 people are yelling at you. All the pressure of the world, your contracts and all, your life depends on this performance. And that's one of the things you specialized in, helping people in that moment to just be like, snap their fingers, realize they're in that moment, enjoy the moment, and let the pressure kind of fade away.
Yes.
Is that an oversimplification?
No, it's accurate, because at the end of the day, you just have to be yourself.
Right.
And just do what you do, and not focus on how you're doing or what other people are thinking.
Right.
So there's the field, or there's the court, and then there's people in the stands.
Right.
So the people in the stands, it shouldn't have any impact on what's on the court or the field. Now they can cheer for you, which you can, or they can boo you. But
I read an interesting study. It said booing definitely affects players. It was interesting. They did like a study of free throws. When people are at home and they're clapping for you, people shoot better. Right. Not everybody, but in general.
Yeah. But that's where the mental training can be so helpful, so that, or you ask yourself, how can someone like MJ shoot a free throw when there's 15,000 flashes going off at the moment he's shooting?
Right.
And that's because you just focus. Or how can Kobe stay focused when you got Chris Rock and other people trying to talk to him, and he just focuses on, because see, that's the thing, you got to stay on the court. What's in the stands won't affect you unless you allow it to.
Right.
And so that's the same thing with distractions, whether it's and a lot of distractions are internal. Oh, I missed that shot, or I got to make this shot, instead of just go up and shoot.
Yeah.
There's no thinking. It's just do it. You just get out of the way. Just create space so you can just let the body do what it does.
But you have to be doing a lot of practice before.
That's exactly right.
So it's not just because a lot of people, I see two extremes. One is people go, I'm just gonna envision my success and then I'm gonna get it, and they forget to put in the actual.
That's right.
Cold, hard work, practical work,
Right.
And then there's other people that are just putting in the work and are never mindful. So I guess you could be at either extremes. You got to get to the middle place.
Right. And the interesting thing is that the mind can trip us up, or it can support us.
Right.
So even if you didn't get a good practice in, but if you're in the moment and you're just focused, you could still play well, or you could still make the shot, even though you may not have practiced as much. But it's your quality of mind and your ability to even recall one of the times when you were able to do it correctly, and just be there, because you see this all the time. You see somebody that shoots 40, 50%, and it's the end of the game and they go up and hit 2 free throws like they do it all the time.
Exactly.
But what's different? Their mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, they can.
And their attitude and their ability to let the body do what it does.
Some of these guys shooting free throws like DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard, they have perfect form. It's all mental.
Yeah.
I mean, not all mental. They're strong, maybe, so it's a little bit harder to hit. But for the most part, you can tell. Because like you said, sometimes when everything's going right, they'll hit every shot. Right. So they should be able to do it again. So it's the mind.
Yeah, well, there's a combination of the mind, body, and whether you're distracted or not, or whether you're, what I like to say to people that I work with, I'm not really interested in whether you say, oh, I missed a shot, oh, darn, I shouldn't miss that shot. I'm more interested in, okay, why did you miss it? Did your elbow, what do you need to correct so that you make the next one? And then you have to let that go and then step up and make the next shot.
Yeah.
It's really that simple, but at the same time, when you get into a pattern, like somebody asked me a question at a presentation the other day. They said, how do you deal with a slump?
Right.
And I said, I quoted.
A losing streak.
Yeah, a losing streak. I quoted Yogi Berra. He said, I ain't no slump, I just ain't hitting.
Right.
So, in other words, if you think you're in a slump, you're in a slump. Right. And really, in actuality, you miss several shots, whether it was or you struck out didn't get a hit for the last 5 at-bats, let's say.
Right.
The only at-bat that exists is the one you have now.
Right.
And so if you can be focused on that and just be at bat and just be there for that at bat, and just you'll be fine. But if you bring all of those other things, all of those other misses or mistakes or whatever you want to call them, now you're saying that you have to make this one because you're trying not to make a mistake. And anytime you try not to do something, you do it.
Right. Pretend I'm the Michael Jordan of ping pong. What would you tell Jordan in a case like this?
There's always a method to his madness, and it's usually about how do you alter consciousness? How do you alter how things occur to people?
Do you think a lot of that stuff, though, was above people's heads when he was talking about that?
But you don't have to understand it to do it.
Okay.
Sometimes most of the time, understanding comes after you do it.
Right, so they would do it, and then they would build kind of like mental muscle memory kind of thing?
Yeah, because some of the learning is what we call implicit or non-declarative. So you're learning things, but you can't declare it. I'll give an example. You learn how to ride a bike.
Right.
How do you describe that? Once you learn how to ride a bike, you can ride a bike.
Right.
That's
so
non-declarative.
It comes after.
Yeah, but you learn it, but you don't know you have it.
Right.
Because it's because not everything is visible. Some stuff is invisible, and it's not to be. You can't put it in language. It's pre-verbal, or you just can't explain it. But you can know it. It's just like some things you can't explain it, but you know it when you see it or when you feel it.
Right. So what would you ever do, let's say this is basketball, not ping pong.
Yeah.
What would be a mental, would there be any training kind of that I would
Yeah, the
try?
training is just to be here now and just to be able to play and just let the game speak to you without you bringing the distractions of what you have to do later or what didn't happen before, or even you focus trying too hard, or saying you got to win this because your life depends on it, or you're, like say they call a ball out that was in,
right,
and you're preoccupied with what the call was. Right. You're not in the next play.
Right.
And so as a result of that, it affects your play. You see that in tennis all the time.
Right.
And so the idea is it doesn't really matter what they do. What matters is the next play.
Right. So right there in the,
right.
So let me try. I'll try to ignore all the cameras.
That's exactly right. And so then...
So you ignore the miss.
No, you don't ignore the miss.
I mean, you don't ignore the miss.
But you notice, okay, so there's a part of you that knows why you missed or what you have to do different the next time.
Right.
That's all you want to do is make a mental note of making the adjustment. That's it. In my book, I talk about be like water. This is what Bruce Lee talks about. Right, and water yields, but it also wears down because it just flows. It keeps going. Yeah. And so for us, whatever life throws us, if we can accept it, we might not like it, accept it and say, but given that this is what's happening, what's the best decision I can make? What do I need to attend to? Yeah. And what do I need to focus on that would give me the best chance of achieving the goal I want? So you have to have that space, and sometimes you do it and then it doesn't work out, but then you think about it, then you go back and reflect on it, and then you go and again, and you might have to go over it. So it's like mindfulness, each time you get a little bit more information.
Right.
And then it's like, once again, the jigsaw puzzle. So you keep putting pieces together, and then at some point you get enough of a critical mass where you know what the scene is. Yeah. Perfect practice makes perfect.
Right.
So practice is very important because you learn, it's learning, practicing, and performing. So what you learn, you have to practice. And then you're always looking to get out of your comfort zone, so you want to add to your game, add to, I say, if you just have a backhand, you want to work on your forehand. And in certain situations, it's what we call deliberate practice. You have to get a lot of reps on how you're going to play. So if you have a good backhand or good forehand and a bad backhand, then you start playing, you're going to lose matches because you're working on your backhand. But at some point when when the learning curve goes up, then all of a sudden you don't have that weakness anymore. So the idea would be there's a scouting report on how to play you.